Our other top story, a news conference in a couple of hours involving Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Let's go to Ron Hoon live in the newsroom. Ron, what's this all about?
Well, you guys, the sheriff is going to be holding this news conference with that cold case investigator of his, a fellow named Mike Zullo. And this all involves the newest findings on the birther investigation, the birth certificate from President Obama, from Barack Obama as a youngster born reportedly in Hawaii, and that's what the president has told us, but the sheriff is skeptical. He won't exactly release the details of what they found, but we were told early this morning that the results of this investigation are to be considered, quote, breathtaking. The investigation has been going on for several months now. The news conference is just a couple more hours away. It's set for 2:30 this afternoon, and we will have a full update for you on Fox 10 News at 5. This morning, if you missed it yesterday, Sheriff Arpaio releasing new information about his investigation into President Obama's birth certificate.
And the lead investigator says there's evidence that the document is indeed a fraud. Alexis Vance joins us live in the newsroom with the details on this one.
Yes, you guys, Mike Zullo, who's the head investigator, he's the one who actually went to Hawaii to see the birth certificate firsthand. He says there are several problems with it, and he announced all of this at a press conference yesterday. First, the numbers appear to be out of sequence. He says they appear that some aren't even written on the birth certificate. Zullo also says digital analysis shows that the documents were tampered with because some of the missing numbers appear on the document that the White House provided, but not on the original birth certificate. He also claims back in the 1960s, anyone could declare a birth.
Now that leaves a pretty big loophole. And what they also knew that was happening, they were getting, and we have evidence of, a lot of foreign citizens, especially from Japan, coming in and using that law to get Hawaii-issued birth certificates.
This is an official investigation, official, zeroing in on possible fraud of government documents. That's all, and it continues to be that.
Okay, so what happens next? Well, Sheriff Joe says he's done. He has wrapped up his part of the investigation, and now he's turning it over to Congress, and they can go from here if they choose to do so, you guys.
Interesting to see if they do. Alexis, thank you.
As far as we're concerned, our analysis of the digital portion of this document is finished. We are fully persuaded that we could prove that this document has been manipulated.
New developments tonight surrounding Sheriff Joe Arpaio's investigation into President Obama's birth certificate.
Arpaio announcing he believes the certificate is a fraud and says he has the evidence to back it up. But does that evidence really prove anything? And what happens now? Fox 10 has team coverage of today's announcement. Miriam Garcia looked into the politics of what went on today. But we start with Andrew Hasman, who was at that news conference and joins us live with more on what was revealed today. What was it, Andrew?
Well, Troy, for about an hour and a half, the sheriff's lead investigator on this issue, who actually spent time in Hawaii looking into it, laid out the evidence that they found. It's complicated, but they say it proves the president's birth certificate could be a fake. Investigators point to a couple of items on the birth certificate released by the White House that they say raises questions. The numbering at the top of the birth certificate is supposed to be assigned based on the time and date of birth, but they say the numbers appear to be out of sequence. There's also a number handwritten on some of the boxes on the birth certificate. The number 9 appears, which back in the 60s meant that the information wasn't provided. Yet there is information on the copy the White House released.
You can't have a document coded like other documents, double-checked, and have a code that says 9 not stated, and have a piece of information sitting in the box. That just can't happen.
Posse investigator Mike Zullo even tracked down the woman whose signature appears at the bottom of the certificate. She's now 95 and told him mistakes didn't happen on her watch.
Every document surrounding this one individual is plagued with problems. They're all plagued with problems.
Zullo also points out that Hawaiian laws back in the 60s regarding birth certificates were not very strict.
When you start something like this and the evidence starts to take you in a direction, all of a sudden, what sounds like a conspiracy may not be a conspiracy at all. There's evidence to substantiate this.
The sheriff has come under fire by critics for taking up the birther issue, and today he again defended himself.
You're trying to go after the messenger. This is an official investigation, official, zeroing in on possible fraud of government documents. That's all, and it continues to be that.
So what happens now? Well, the sheriff says his part of this investigation is pretty much done. There's nowhere else for him to take this issue. He hopes a higher power steps in, but given the political mood and the issues that this whole birther argument brings up, that probably isn't likely. Reporting live, I'm Andrew Hasbin, Fox 10 News.